Ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday Night Vlog with your host, Franklyn McInnis. Enjoy the show. At the time of me recording this, it is the morning of May 21st. It's about 10 a.m. And I'm letting you know that time because it is significant to me because my post office is only open from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and let that sink in for a moment. You all think about that. Again, my local post office is only open from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. That's it. So, yeah, that's a little aggravating because you do wonder about packages coming in later in the day. There's a package I was expecting today that I did not see when I went to the post office just now. I did get one other package in, which we will take a look at here. And I don't know, maybe I will have some stuff delivered directly to my house later on because that's been happening a lot. That I feel like I've been using my P.O. box pretty consistently, but I still have been having some things come directly to my house. So we'll see if I get a knock here in a little while. And if something else does arrive today before I complete the Saturday night vlog, then I will try to work it in. But we'll go ahead and get into this package that I actually received. And this package here is from Geek Girl World. Geek Girl World. This is a YouTube channel. When I watch the videos, I usually see Ari. I think there are some other ladies, or at least one other lady involved in the channel as well. But Ari seems to be the one who is consistently on the channel. She does a lot of reactions, a lot of haul videos, unboxings. I mean, she is constantly posting. So if you really want an active channel to follow that has a lot going on, you know, and somebody with a good personality, then yeah, definitely check out Geek Girl World. And this is not the first package, and I'm going to start opening it here. This is not the first package that I have received from her. But the other one, it included some figures which I knew were not going to stay in my collection. I really got them to help out others. Okay, so I'm getting this open here. And, of course, I do want to talk about etiquette when it comes to trading and selling. This is based off of a trade. For one thing, and I'm going to do this very informally, and then I'll give a more solid list after this, after I get through this package. But one thing I want to go and say right now is obviously if it's a pop figure, you do not mail out a pop figure in a bubble wrapper. It needs to be a box that is, let me see, you could have some of this, you know, the air pouches around the figure. Definitely you want to bubble wrap the figure. You might want to have the styrofoam peanuts, just whatever you got to do. Make sure that that figure is very well protected. Make sure that the box is very well protected. That's just part of being responsible when it comes to doing a trade or a sale. You make sure you send the figure out properly. And it also helps that if you are the buyer or, you know, just you're the person on the other end, just think about it and make sure that you ask the person how they intend to send it out. How do they intend to send the figure or figures out? The boxes that she sent me, these are already open. I'm just going to basically reopen them because I already know what I asked for from her. So like I said, these have been open, but I'm going to get them open back up so you can see what I received here. And by the way, these arrived to me in a very timely manner. That's another big part of trading and selling, especially selling. If you sell something to somebody and you say you're going to get it to them by a certain date, do that. That's all there is to it. I've had several instances where people did not send something out when I thought they would, and they gave me these excuses about what's going on in their personal life. I know that things happen, but if I pay my money, I want what I paid for in a timely manner. And that's up to me, that's really up to the seller. And I feel like some of the excuses that I've heard, I don't completely understand what it has to do with making a quick run to the post office. But that's just me. Again, anything that I'm saying here, I do want to hear your opinions as well. And you hear me cutting right now. I'm kind of cutting through this box because I just don't want to rip the box all up with the tape. I think it's just a little easier to use my trusty scissors here. Okay, so first figure here. I was not going to get any of these individual boxes because there's really only one figure I wanted, and she had extras, so boom. Now I have Falcon. I got the mystery mini, and of course I still have the pop back there. And I don't know, it seems like some people have been having some trouble, getting their hands on the actual pop figure. And I guess that's because they don't live close to a Hot Topic, or they are not willing to take that drive. But you know, for me, the Hot Topic that I go to is not exactly a hop, skip, and a jump. It's maybe about 40 minutes or so away from me, but I don't consider that a bad drive. You know, I go there pretty regularly. So we got here another box from the Batman Arkham series, which, by the way, I do have the majority of this series. I moved most of them up top on my top shelf. You can't see them right now, but if you go to my Instagram, I do have a good picture of my Arkham minis, and I hope you are checking out my Instagram, because on my Instagram sometimes I do kind of give heads up on giveaways and more details about giveaways and just great pictures, I think, of items that I get. Okay, so the figure I have here is Nightwing, which I did not have a Nightwing yet. I had Robin, I had a couple of Batman figures, most of the villains now at this point, I think. So yeah, finally got Nightwing in as well. And I mentioned this in a recent video that I recently watched, Batman Bad Blood, and I really like Nightwing in that. In fact, I've liked Nightwing in most of the animated movies that he's been featured in. Hopefully we'll get him on the big screen sometime in the near future. In fact, I'm thinking that we got a Dunnies box, people. Ooh. But anyway, I'm really hoping that Nightwing gets worked into the standalone Batman movies that are upcoming. And I'm saying movies because I know it's going to be a franchise thing, of course. I feel like they got to work in Nightwing. That's way past due. Now from the series, I will show you quickly. I already do have a couple of Dunnies, not a whole lot. I'm trying to see if I have any of these particular ones. I don't think I have any of these. Nope, it doesn't look like it. But I definitely would like to get some of them. And really, I think I like all of the ones from the series. I know I like all the ones that I see here on this side. That one really stands out a lot to me. It's like a wolf looking face. But then on the back, I think it almost looks like a turtle shell. It's like a weird mashup of animals. The one with all the eyes is nice and creepy. It's creepy in that good way. In fact, you could say that about a lot of these. I do like the, I guess like Voodoo Priestess. She actually has a shrunken head there. Okay. One's on the back here. This King Kong one looks really cool. And it's holding the little woman there. I like the one with the skeleton. That looks cool as well. But let me go ahead and show you the one that I got, because this is one that stood out to me before. And it is the Dunny based on Doink the Clown from WWF. Yes, WWF, not WWE. I'm saying WWF. Okay. So I did a trade, like I said. I got these three little mystery minis here, and two mystery minis and one Dunny. Hey, let me be specific there. 2 mystery minis, 1 Dunny. It went very smooth with Ari, no problems at all. She's willing to send pictures, which any buyer or seller should be willing to send pictures. If somebody is not willing to send you pictures, or they claim they can't find pictures of something that they supposedly have, then obviously you can't trust that. But let's go ahead and get into the finer points now of basically buying and trading etiquette. Buying, trading, selling etiquette. Let's go ahead and get into it. First of all here, if you are a seller, when you post pics, and I'm going to assume that you would probably mainly do this in a Facebook group, but I know some people sell through eBay, which I'm not familiar with. I really don't even feel comfortable with eBay because I've heard so many negative stories, so many negative experiences about eBay. But anyway, whenever you post pics of what you have to offer, you should post it up with a slip of paper which has your signature and the date on it. That's to help potential buyers see that you actually do own it. It is in your possession. Next here it says, set reasonable prices and be clear about whether or not shipping is included. Okay, now Of course, you can set whatever prices you want to, but I think it helps you a lot in the long run if you set some reasonable prices. If you want to go according to pop price guide, I guess that's fine, even though even sometimes on there I think the prices are maybe higher than they should be, just because there's a lot of people overcharging for certain figures. You all, please excuse my voice, by the way. I've been still going through it with this pollen and these allergies. Okay, but anyway, like I said, also there, do be clear whether or not shipping is included with the price. Next here, this is very important to me. I already mentioned it. Ship what you've sold in a timely manner. It's not fair that you lock in a sale and then you take your sweet time to ship out the figures. So again, ship what you're going to sell in a timely manner. Make sure you pack the items yourself. I've heard at least one instance of somebody getting some damaged pops and the person completely put it on the post office. They said that it was packed up by them, which really doesn't make sense to me. You be responsible for packing up the pop figures. And like I already said, no bubble wrappers for pops. That definitely does not work out well. And make sure that the pops are protected on all sides. Next here, once the package has been shipped, send the buyer a pic of the shipping receipt with the tracking number visible. That way they can know exactly when that figure is coming in, or those figures are coming in. And also, to help out other individuals, other potential buyers, make sure that you remove or update posts once sales are made. It's definitely aggravating when you try to buy something from somebody, then you find out they already sold it, but they didn't bother to change their post in any way. Let's keep things moving. Next up here, if you are a buyer, you have some responsibilities as well. First of all, be ready to purchase. You need to know your PayPal balance, or I'm going to assume that's the main way that you would purchase. So make sure you know what your balance is. Make sure you actually have some money ready to be transferred. And also, don't ask someone to hold something for you. I think that's kind of disrespectful. It's like putting somebody on the spot. It just makes things awkward. If you're not ready to purchase, then just wait. I mean, come back to their post, check later on to see if it's available. But I think it's actually a little bit rude to ask somebody to hold something for you, especially if it's somebody that you don't even know. You know nothing about them, and you're asking for that big of a favor. And also, avoid being wishy-washy. Either you're going to buy or you're not. You know, we all know the saying, either blank or get off the pot. I'm keeping it PG here, folks. Keeping it PG. So, yeah, either you're going to buy or you're not. Don't be wishy-washy. Also, to protect you as a buyer, make sure that you ask for specific pics. You might want to ask for specific angles of the box, certain close-ups. Just make sure you ask for specific pics. Don't go based off of the pics that the person already has posted. Even if they have a slip with their signature on it and the date, I would still ask for specific pictures just so you can check for box damage and you can check for paint flaws, things like that. And again, it does help to make sure, 100% sure, that that person, that individual, actually has those figures or that figure in their possession. And of course, if the buyer gets an attitude or claims that they can't take pictures for whatever reason, move on. Don't even trust that. Next up here, if the sale goes poorly, deal with it in a calm manner. Trust me, getting angry, showing out is not going to help anything. The person's probably just going to shut down on you and disappear. And I would just do this. If you feel like a sale is going poorly and you feel like there's no way to maybe get your money back on it, then just report the seller. Do that not only to help yourself. It's not just about putting it out there that you were mistreated or you were done wrong. You also need to help out other potential buyers. Don't allow other people to be cheated by a person that cheated you. So just put that word out there if necessary. And I know some people will call that snitching. Well, yeah, if you're done wrong, you really reserve that right to let it be known. So forget that snitching nonsense. If somebody is cheating people, they need to be put on blast for it. That's all there is to it. And I do want you to understand, though, last thing here, if you're a buyer, do understand that some things happen in shipping. So you got to use your judgment. You really need to look at the package, look at the damage, and you decide, was it on the seller or did something really happen in transit, basically? And if it's something that could possibly happen in transit, then yes, go and check that out with the postal service or however it was delivered, check, follow up on that. But you gotta be very judgmental about it. Now, I'll just say be very careful about it and decide. I'll give you one good example. Somebody shipped me a figure that had a pin mark on the box. Now, it's partly my fault for being kind of young in the game as far as buying pops is concerned. I should have asked for different angles on the box. But blaming a pin mark on the postal service made no sense. I can understand a box getting crumpled, but nobody jabs a pin through a box, puts a mark on the box, and then magically closes up that hole. Okay, so that made no sense at all. Next here, if you're trading, and of course this affects both people because you're really on equal ground here, on equal footing. First of all, make reasonable offers that are at least close in equal value, as close as possible in equal value. Don't expect to get vaulted, rare, or chase pops for commons or even store exclusives, especially if they're store exclusives that just came out. So be reasonable about that. I've had some people make offers to me and I'll just look at them like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Like, don't try to play anybody for a fool. I think that's really disrespectful. And even if it's a new collector, respect them. Don't turn them away from this hobby by trying to do them wrong and cheat them out of a rare figure. Okay, just be kind to people. That's really what it comes down to. Next up here, this is an important one, and I know that Tolly the Towel Man pointed this out. And by the way, if you don't know who Tolly is by now, just sort your life out, mate. Get it together. You should know Tolly. But anyway, don't ask someone for something from their personal collection. Let me say that again. Do not ask someone for something from their personal collection. That is absolutely a rude thing to do. So you only focus on what is offered. And I've even seen some people put up, people want to show off things that they have. So they'll post pictures of them and they'll say NFS, NFT, which means not for sale, not for trade. And then some people will still try to make them offers. And that's just an uncomfortable thing to do. Again, don't turn people away from this hobby, which is a great hobby, by putting them on the spot and being rude. Okay, next up here, never put up a trade post without an ISO, which means in search of, list. This is something that really aggravates me. I see this happen all the time, especially within Facebook groups. Somebody puts up a super rare figure, one that they know people are just going to go crazy over. People start making offers. They're asking, what do you want? The person is just looking at offer after offer and saying, nope, don't need it. Nope, already got it. Nope, don't need it. Nope, already got it. And it's just like, if you just want to show off your figures, then do that. Just post your picture, say not for sale, not for trade. Show off what you have. But don't make people, run around in circles trying to figure out what they can do to get these figures from you when you really don't want to let go of them anyway. Okay, next up here, of course, share pics and ask for pics in return. That should go without saying when you're dealing with the trade. You make sure that you share pics, really good angles on the boxes and everything, and definitely make sure that you ask for pics in return. Something that I have not done but I've heard people talk about is that you can use PayPal to protect the trade. That means each of you send each other the value, I guess, and then you just work it out that way. That way, the money is there and to protect the trade. People that know more about that, you can probably elaborate on it in the comments section. I've never done that before. I just heard that it is a way to protect yourself within a trade. Next here, decide on a shipping time and stick to it. I know I usually try to make sure that me and that person we're shipping out on the same day, and if possible within just a few hours of each other. So try to work that out. Definitely don't forget about that. Again, report a bad trade if necessary. If somebody does you wrong, they deserve to be put on blast. That's all there is to it. I say that again. I have to keep stressing that. People deserve to be put on blast if they're out there cheating people and doing people wrong. And then also, make sure that you delete or update posts once trades are made. That's just respecting people that are following behind on those posts. Okay, so folks, what did I miss? I'm sure you're looking at the things that I said and maybe some thoughts came to your mind. So make sure that you share your advice, your own do's and don'ts, maybe some of your personal experiences down in the comment section. Get involved with this and help people out, because that's what this is all about. One more thing before I forget. This is the business card that was sent to me by Ari of Geek Girl World. I think this looks really cool. This is the icon that they actually use on YouTube. So you see that icon, you know you're on one of their videos. And then on the back here, I'll just show this to you real quick. Okay, and it says, "We are Geek Girl World. Geeks, gamers, girls, great, gorgeous." I like that. It's pretty clever there. Then it says, "Connect with us." You see they have Facebook page. They have Twitter. Got the YouTube channel, of course, and I will try to remember to link that YouTube channel down, to put the link down in the description of this video. And then they even have a straight up website, geekgirlworld.com. I haven't been to that website yet. I'll have to check it out. Okay, but yeah, big shout out to Ari, a really nice person, really smooth trades, and I just appreciate that.
Wouldn't have been so bad if you had told me that someone had taken my place. But no, you didn't even scold me. You just tried to disfigure my face. You'll never know how this heart of mine is breaking. It looks so hopeless, but then life used to be so pleasant. Won't you please put down that acid and say that we're sweethearts again?
Winning is not a sometime thing, it's an all-the-time thing. You don't win once in a while, and you don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. You gotta play with your heart, with every ounce of fiber in your body. I've never known a man worth his salt who deep down in his heart didn't appreciate the grind, the discipline, and to win, and to win, and to win. It is and always has been an American seal, and that's to be first, regardless of what we do. There's no room for second place. There's only one place, and that's first place. I finished second twice in my time, and I don't ever want to finish second again. But I firmly hold that a man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment to anything he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out on a good cause and lays exhausted on the field of battle, victorious.
Yes, people, I have surpassed the 200 subscriber milestone, and I want to thank everybody out there that helped me to get to this level here on YouTube. And as I've always said, I'm going to keep on stressing this. It's not all about the numbers for me. I just really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this community of collectors and find out what's going on with you all. It's not all about you enjoying my channel. I've been enjoying just interacting with a lot of you, whether you have a channel or not. So I put it out there in 2 or 3 videos to send some questions my way for a possible Q&A, and I think I have enough questions here to go on. I have not really put thought ahead into these questions. I really wanted it to come from the heart with my responses. So let's go ahead and get into it. First question here, and by the way, these questions are in no particular order. I just kind of grabbed them at random and put them in here. So the first one here says, were you a drill sergeant in the Army? And this is a question from Max Hedron. I was in the Army for just 3 years right out of high school. I was not a drill sergeant. I didn't even become an NCO, which is a sergeant. I just stuck at the level of specialist because I knew I was not going to stay in the military. I grew up on Army bases. My father was in the Army. He did 20 years. He actually worked to the point of retirement. So, just my personal opinion as far as the Army is concerned. Obviously, there are a lot of positives with it. They are our protectors, of course. But at the same time, I feel like the Army can be, and the military in general, can be very rough on families. There's a lot of moving around. There's a lot of time with parents, away from the family. So I knew that I would not stay in the Army myself. So I just didn't work to that point of becoming an NCO or a sergeant, and definitely had no interest in becoming a drill sergeant. But I gotta say, drill sergeants are definitely some of the most interesting people you could ever meet. They're such great characters, and that's really what it is. They're basically actors. They take on a role while they're doing the training, but once that training is over with, they really are some of the nicest guys that you could ever meet. And I know that might sound crazy to people, but I'm telling you, that's how it is. Once the training is over with and they relax a little bit, they really are some of the coolest guys you could ever meet. And I know some of them offered up some great life advice for me that still sticks with me to this day. Next question here from Symbiotically Geeky. And by the way, Max Headron and both Symbiotically Geeky, these are YouTubers as well. And I'll try to point that out as I go along, who is a YouTuber or not, so that you can check out their channel if you're not already familiar with it. But this question here from Symbiotically Geeky, who's definitely a big comic book fan. He really enjoys Venom, Carnage, all the symbiotes, however you pronounce that, from the Spider-Man series. So he asks here, what is your comic grail? I would not say that I'm a die-hard comic book fan. I try to stick with them as much as I can, but it's just I have so many different interests, and definitely keeping up with the floppies, the monthly comics is just not easy to do. So I've read a lot of graphic novels more than actual comic books. But to get to this question here, what is my comic grail? I really don't have one specific comic grail, but if I could add some comics to my collection, what I would really like is to have some of those mashups from the 90s. And what I mean by mashup is taking characters from different properties and throwing them together in a story. One that kind of stands out in my memory is there was a Batman versus Predator comic, which I thought was pretty awesome. I actually owned that for a little while. But of course, being a kid that moved around a lot on army bases, from army base to army base, it was tough at times to keep up with things. So I don't even know what happened to that comic, but I really did enjoy that. Batman versus Predator. I also saw the cover to one. I never got a chance to read it though, but I just remember the cover very vividly, and I wish I had the opportunity to check it out. And it was Wolverine versus Freddy Krueger. I'm not making that up, people. Wolverine versus Freddy Krueger. There were a lot of these crazy mashups, especially in, I would say, the mid 90s or so. So if I could get some of those comics, I would be pretty happy. What is your one grail pop? I actually had more than one person ask this question, but this one here I copied it from Popcom. And Popcom is, again, this is a YouTube channel that you should check out. They were formerly, I believe, Pop Track AZ. They had a name change there, so now it is Popcom. But this is a question that I actually addressed on my very first Saturday Night Vlog. I know some people came along later in this series, so you may have not seen the very first episode. But I want to say in the first episode that I talked about my one grail pop, and that is Notorious B.I.G. I would love to have that pop. When I found out that that pop existed, I almost fell out of my seat. I was just so amazed because Biggie's just, he's one of my hugest inspirations of all time. I actually used to rap just for fun. I never really took it too serious. It's not like I wanted to become a rapper. But Biggie still inspired me because of his versatility. He could write in very different ways. He could perform in different ways with different styles. And that really pushed me to be more versatile within my writing. So Biggie was a huge inspiration to me. And just to have that crossover of, being a fan of Biggie Smalls and then also being a fan of Funko Pops, to own a Biggie Smalls Funko Pop or Notorious B.I.G. Funko Pop would be amazing, but the prices are ridiculous. They also have a metallic Biggie, which the prices are even more ridiculous. The regular Biggie, I think, runs anywhere from like 100 to 120 in that range. And then that metallic Biggie Smalls, I've seen it listed for $500. So unfortunately, I may never have that one in my collection, but it's still cool just to know that it even exists. But you never know, maybe Funko will re-release that later on at some point. Next up here from Blobby Jackie. I hope I did get the last name right. I know it does start off with Blobby, but hopefully I got it accurate here. Okay, so Blobby Jackie asks, have you ever made a custom pop or tried the DIY, which, is do-it-yourself Funko Pops? I have been interested in trying a custom. I haven't done it yet. Maybe I will try in the future. Honestly, I just don't feel like I'm the most artistic person. I definitely don't have the steadiest hands at times. And I'll get into why a little bit later on. But basically, I do have an interest in trying this at some point. I just haven't tried it yet. And honestly, I don't have any particular ideas at the moment. There are some custom pops I would like to see. Really, I would like to see them as official pops. And I'll give you an example. One is Wesley Snipes as Blade, or just Blade in general from the Marvel comics. I think would be pretty awesome. It does kind of bug me that there just isn't a Blade pop as far as I know. I have seen maybe one or two customs. They were okay. But yeah, that's definitely one that I would like to see. And I don't know if I would ever attempt to make that one myself. I might try something a little simpler to start off with if I were to try custom. But like I said, that's something maybe down the line for me to consider. Maybe even later in the year. Who knows? Next up here from Mitchell Jensen says, would you try Dunnies? Or I'm really not sure how you spell Dunnies when it comes to making it plural. And then it says, in the video game mystery minis coming out soon. Now, first of all, let me get to the last part because I didn't even realize that there were video game mystery minis on the way. So that's news to me. So thank you for that, Mitchell Jensen. I'm actually going to have to look those up to see exactly what's going to be available. And it really will depend on what the selection of characters is. I'm definitely a video game player. I haven't played as much lately. And it's partly because I devote so much time to YouTube. But yeah, if they have a good selection of characters, I'll definitely check those out. And I actually do have a couple of Dunnies. In fact, again, I got to give props to Collecting Plastic. That's another YouTuber who I shout out pretty much all the time because I have a lot of interaction with him. And he did win my very first giveaway. He won a Chase Green Goblin from me. So he actually turned me onto these Dunnies. He sent me a couple along with the package. So yeah, Dunnies are pretty cool. The only thing I'm concerned about is getting doubles, of course. Whenever it comes to mystery boxes, I do worry about that. So I do want some more Dunnies, but I am a little bit nervous about, running into doubles and having to deal with that and then trying to sell them or trade them, especially since I don't know a lot of people that are into Dunnies. But yeah, I do think they are pretty cool, and they definitely, even though they're the same basic mold, I have seen that there is a lot that can be done with that mold, and it really pushes artists to be creative. So I definitely like those. Next up here says, how many characters does Funko produce? And this is one of my subscribers that comments very often. I feel really bad. I know I'm about to just destroy your name. Please forgive me. I think it's Ramesis Murillo or Murillo. I'm not sure how to say that. And like I said, please forgive me for tearing your name up there. But he does comment all the time. I definitely do appreciate that. Okay, and it says again, how many characters does Funko produce? A lot. I mean, that's the simple answer. I don't know the exact answer or, a correct way to answer that question. But, I mean, it seems endless with Funko. Just the fact that Golden Girls Funko Pops are releasing, that shows you that Funko can do anything. There really is no limit to what they can produce or how many characters they will produce. There's just a lot. It seems like anything that you can think of can be represented by Funko Pops. And I think that's pretty cool because they make great gifts. I think Funko Pops, like if you're struggling with the gift to give somebody, I'm pretty sure you can find a Funko Pop that they will like. And that's just one of the great things about this line and about this product. I believe this is the final question here. It says, how would your life change without YouTube? And this comes from Funko Shenanigans. And by the way, Funko Shenanigans is a YouTuber. I think a lot of you are probably already familiar with him. He's a young YouTuber, so definitely make sure you show your support if you haven't already. Now this question, I think I did intentionally put this one last because this question here, it really brings a lot of thoughts to mind. First of all, part of the reason that I decided to give YouTube a try is because I was inspired by some other YouTubers that I was seeing. And I would say the main inspirations probably were, I came across Factoner's channel, and he and I have actually communicated some recently. We've worked out some trades, and it's just cool to be able to trade with somebody that actually inspired me, because his videos are so well put together. The energy on his videos is nice. I mean, he's a good channel, you know, and he also provides Funko news. So he's one of my inspirations. Grumpy Nerd is also one of my inspirations, and he says all the time he doesn't get why he inspires people, but just the fact that you commit to doing this, because YouTube is work. Let's be clear about that. YouTube is definitely work. It does take a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of hours. You have to be passionate about it. So just the fact that somebody can dedicate themselves to it and stick with a channel consistently, that's really where the inspiration comes from. It's not just about somebody sitting there and showing collectibles. There is a lot of dedication and thought that goes into this. So that's what inspires me. And then if I had to say one more inspiration, it'd probably be Nerd Therapy. That couple is just an awesome couple. I love their channels. One of my absolute favorite channels on YouTube. Not just in regards to Funko Pops, but all together channels on YouTube. I think they're just a great channel. And again, the energy is great. They play off each other very well because, of course, they are a couple, you know. So, I mean, obviously they would do that. And they're just really kind-hearted people. And I would say that YouTube has helped me a lot because I have dealt with anxiety. This is something I said I was going to get back to. That's why I don't always have the steadiest hands, and sometimes my nerves are a little bit bad because I have dealt with anxiety issues in the past couple of years. And if you're curious about it, it basically just comes from dealing with a lot of pretty heavy issues on my own without opening up to other people, kind of cutting myself off from the world and letting myself wallow in depression. So yeah, anxiety is a really serious thing. It's definitely a big challenge, but I have been doing a lot better with it, and I think YouTube has helped with that. So I think that's one thing that would change if I wasn't on YouTube. I think I would still be struggling with anxiety a lot more, because YouTube has allowed me to open up to people. And by the way, I know some of you might be curious about this and just didn't want to ask. I have actually shown my face before on YouTube. I just don't do it on a regular basis because for me, my channel, it's not about my face. It's about my interests, you know, that. So me doing that, that's just a personal choice. And it's not like I'm afraid to show my face on YouTube. And like I said, I have before. In fact, back when I was out of work, because I did have to get out of work for a while because my anxiety was that bad, I just decided to film my very first poem video just impromptu in my car. And it does show my face. So if you go back far enough on my channel, my very first video that I actually left up, because I did have a couple of video game clips that I thought were pretty weak, and I took them down. And I had some practice videos, you might as well say, that I ended up taking down. But my very first video that's still up is actually a poem video, and you can see me in it. And also, I did show my face in another video. I won't even point it out. But if you really follow my channel and pay attention, then you've seen my face, or at least in a way you've seen my face kind of recently. But yeah, I'll just say if you've been watching my channel and really pay attention, then you know you've seen me recently. But anyway, I'm going off track there. I'll just say that if it wasn't for YouTube, I think I would probably still be struggling a lot more with anxiety. I think I wouldn't have as many cool friends as I've had now. I really have connected with a lot of great people through YouTube. And I hate to even get into listing names. In fact, I'm not going to do that because I know I will forget somebody and then feel terrible about that later on. I'll just say if you watch my videos enough, you know some people that I've connected with. And that really does mean a lot to me. And now that more and more people seem to be getting into my poetry, still not huge numbers on those videos, but just the fact that some people take the time to check out my poetry, which is so personal and so important to me, that means a lot as well. So yeah, if it wasn't for YouTube, I think I would be struggling a lot more right now. And Funko Shenanigans, thank you for that question. I think that's a great question. I appreciate all of these questions here, and I hope that you all have learned a lot more about me as a person. And I definitely want to continue to connect with you all and learn a lot more about you as individuals. I definitely appreciate this opportunity, and you know, to be a part of this community is just an awesome thing. When I first started collecting Pops 6 months ago, I started to look around online to see what else was available other than what I was seeing in stores. And I'm a big fan of the Punisher, so I saw that there were variants of the Punisher, including this Punisher Nemesis figure. This particular figure at the time was selling for around $25 online. So I really don't spend that much individually on Pops. It's very rare that I spend over store price for a Pop figure. So I just assumed this is one that I would just have to not worry about getting. But luckily, there was a re-release of this figure. So I actually picked this up from Target for I think around $9. So in that case, a re-release was a great thing for me. But I think there are definitely positives and negatives to re-releases. So let's get into it. Popculture.com, which is based in Australia, and Pop in a Box, which originally started off in the UK and now is also available to the US as well. These are two websites that have been promoting re-releases right now, but let me be clear about this. It's not just websites that are making figures available again. It's also going to be in stores as well. As a matter of fact, Hot Topic, I'll talk about it in a moment. Hot Topic has some recent re-releases. So do be on the lookout for these. And some of these figures include, you have here Fool Killer, Solo, and Terror. This was the first round of the Deadpool related mystery boxes from Hot Topic. So a lot of people did miss out on these, especially Terror, which was the rarest one. So now these are going to be available at a much more reasonable price. I still don't think it's going to be that typical Pop price around $10 or so. I think it'll still be more than that, but at least it will be available at a much lower price than what a flipper would charge you, of course. For you Disney fans, Dory is being re-released because, of course, she has her own movie coming up. She was originally in Finding Nemo. Finding Dory is on the way, so yes, you will be able to get Dory again. In fact, she might be available in stores already. The symbiotes, or symbiotes, or however you pronounce that, I always get a little confused on the pronunciation there. Anti-Venom and Carnage have been available in Hot Topics recently. I don't know if there will be a re-release on Venom, because I think Venom, I want to say, was a Walgreens exclusive. But the other symbiotes, they have been available in the store recently. They actually were on the website as well, but I think they sold out very quickly. Carnage, at least, is still listed though, so there might be some more on the way. So just keep your eyes out for these Pops here if you are interested in them. There is another re-release coming up that I'm actually kind of shocked by, because the price of this figure has been vaulted for a long time. Even when it was originally out, I don't think a lot of them were produced. So that's why the price on this figure has been through the roof, at least triple digits, I think. So I'm really surprised that it's getting a re-release, and I'm grateful that it's getting a re-release. And like I said, I did my pre-order. I went ahead to GameStop and made sure that I put in a pre-order for it, and it is Alex from A Clockwork Orange. Now, if you've never seen this movie, it's pretty much a classic, and it's a classic for good reason. It's just all around good filmmaking, a very interesting story. It's very psychological. The brutality in it definitely makes it not for everyone. You know, it's definitely not a movie for younger people, maybe not even for teenagers. But it's just a well-made movie, and Stanley Kubrick definitely did his thing with this movie. So I'm really surprised, like I said, that this figure is being re-released. So obviously the biggest positive is that some figures that you haven't had the chance to get before because of the prices and because of them being vaulted, now you are going to get the chance to put some of these into your collection. This is something I personally hope continues, because I would like to see some other figures re-released, like the Winter Soldier, the Masked Winter Soldier, the Bank Robber Joker is another one that comes to mind. Bane would be awesome as well. Trying to think of any others that come to mind. Like I said, Notorious B.I.G. is definitely the biggest one, though, that I would love to see re-released. Ghost Rider is another one that's been going for crazy prices, you know, and I'd like to see that one re-released. So, you know, fingers crossed that this will continue. And then another positive, of course, is that these flippers with their so-called business, you know, it's just going to hurt that so-called business, which we know is basically just taking advantage of people. So those are definitely some positives. But we do have to look at the flip side of this as well. I think it's fair to say even if you are a collector that keeps everything that you buy, you still want your collection to hold some value, because you never know when you'll run into a situation where maybe you need to sell off some pops because you lost your job or you have some health issues and the bills are stacking up, and you want your collection to hold some value. Terror, like I said, is being re-released, and Terror has been in my top 10 on Pop Price Guide for quite a while because he's been sitting at $50, but I expect that value to come down. Now, I don't know if these other figures, these other recent figures like Madcap, will get that re-release treatment as well. We'll just see what happens in the future here. But the Leaping Deadpool you just saw, that came from the Collector Core box. I don't know if that's going to be necessarily re-released, but I think they actually are still producing it. So if you start a new subscription with the Collector Core, you can actually go back and order previous boxes. So I got it in my mind to make sure that I get a Hulkbuster because they're still producing that first box. And I have a feeling that the Legion of Collectors is going to do the same thing, that when you sign up with a new subscription, that you can get previous boxes. Now, they're a lot newer, so they're not at that stage yet, but I just know it's going to happen. I really do feel that it's going to happen. In fact, they may already have their first box, which featured this Armored Batman, available for new subscribers. And let me be clear about this. When I say new subscribers, you can go month by month with these boxes. So each month, basically, if you don't have auto renew on, and you'll get like basically an email that lets you know that the time is almost up to sign up for that box. And then when you do sign up for the box for that month, like I said, you do get the option to add on previous boxes. So instead of paying $45 or $50 for a Hulkbuster, I'm just going to make sure that with one of my Collector Core boxes that I go back and get that previous box. So yes, that is a benefit, that I can get some older figures, but like I said, this is also going to bring down the value of some people's collections. So I just want you all thinking about that, and you can let me know, how do you feel about it? Do you think it's more positive or more negative that figures are getting the re-release treatment? Yes, this has been another very long Saturday night vlog. It seems like they keep getting longer, but with this one, I didn't even want to focus so much on humor, and I'm sorry if you didn't get some big laughs out of this, but I just really want to focus on providing good information in this episode, and especially for people that are newer to collecting. I really feel like I'm not that new to it myself. Like I said, it's only been 6 months for me, but I feel like I've learned a lot in that time. So I'm trying to pass along what I've learned to other people that are new to collecting, because I really don't want to see them making some of the mistakes that I made early on. Like when I first started out collecting, I didn't know anything about variants. And I would have had some different versions of figures that I have now if I had known about that. And there were situations too with bad trade, a bad sale that happened, just those sorts of things. So I'm trying to make sure that newer collectors are more aware of what's going on in the world of Funko and Funko collecting. Okay, just this last screen here, this is not necessarily a most wanted scene, but these are definitely things I'm keeping my eyes open for here. I already got the Bride, and I think I definitely do want to get the rest of the set, maybe even the Crazy 88 guy, who I think I can find pretty easily. The rest of them, though, I know they're vaulted. It might be a little bit tougher, but I'm not going to give up on them. Loot Crate, I would never sign up with Loot Crate again. I just think there's too many items I don't care about. But I do like that they have that deal with Quantum Mechanics, and they do get some exclusive figures from Quantum Mechanics, including this Hulk figure that just came out this month. I think that's pretty awesome. I'm definitely going to track it down. Even if I have to bite the bullet and go to eBay, I think I'm going to track that down, but I'm still only willing to pay so much for it. The Thunderbolts Punisher, that's one I've wanted for a while, just haven't seen it anywhere. I'm just still keeping my eyes open. If you're interested to get a better look at the Suicide Squad mystery minis, like I mentioned before, Geek Girl World, that's a channel that you need to check out. Ari, she actually did an unboxing of a full crate of those figures. That's a great video, so check that out if you're really curious about the Suicide Squad mystery minis. Like I said, she did an unboxing of the full crate. I didn't even know they were available yet, but apparently they are in some places, because I did see another YouTuber also doing an unboxing of them. The Harley Quinn Vinyl Vixen, I've mentioned before, I have not given up on it. I'm not seeing it anywhere right now, but hopefully I will come across it. Again, even if I have to go to somebody that's reselling it and hopefully not at a crazy price, I definitely want to have it because I have so much other Harley Quinn stuff going on. that I'm basically going to end up building like a Harley Quinn shrine. Might even have to get a candle going next to it. I don't know. I just got so much Harley Quinn that it would be a shame if she's not a part of it, if that particular figure is not a part of it. Zombie Ed from Shaun of the Dead, I know I'll come across it at some point. I'm really not stressing that so much. I've seen it available online. It's just, I think I could find maybe a little bit lower price. I think 25 is maybe a little bit high for that figure. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep my eyes open. And then the upcoming Marvel figures. I'm a DC fan. Let me be clear about this. I really do like DC as well. I don't think it's either or. But comparing the upcoming Marvel figures to the DC figures that are actually starting to be available right now, I think the Marvel figures definitely look a lot better. So money wise, I can't get every single thing that I want. So I think I'm going to focus more so on these Marvel figures here and maybe some variants of them as well. I tend to have good luck at Walgreens. I know I'm apparently one of the few people on earth that can say that I actually do have some good luck at Walgreens. So the Spider-Gwen with the hood pulled back, I'm definitely going to be looking for that one. And then the mask Captain Marvel, I think I'll try to find that one as well. I can't remember what it's going to be exclusive to, but I'm definitely going to look for it. And out of that set, the main one, of course, I'm looking forward to is Dr. Octopus. I'm so glad that they finally have a Dr. Octopus Funko Pop. Definitely looking forward to having that one in my collection. So these are just some things that I'm looking forward to just to wrap things up here. And also to wrap things up, of course, I have to thank you all for watching. It means a lot to me when you take the time to watch these Saturday night vlogs. I know they're long and they seem to be getting longer, but I'm going to try to do better here in the near future to shorten them up some. And like I said, this one mainly I just wanted to get out information, especially to new collectors. And I hope you all also enjoyed learning some more about me on a personal level in this Saturday night vlog. But that's it for now. I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your upcoming week. You know, give me some feedback in the comment section. I definitely look forward to that. And I do try to reply back to you as soon as possible. Again, thanks for watching. You all take care.